News starts now with breaking news.
That breaking news coming from Greensville County this morning, where all schools are closed due to a nearby shooting investigation. Thanks for waking up with us on this Monday. I'm Delaney Hall.
And I'm Heather Hope. Details are limited right now, but we do know the shooting happened last night at an apartment complex. So according to the Greensville County Sheriff's Office, a shooting took place at the Brook Ridge apartment complex off Route 301 South. It's unclear if anyone was hurt, but residents were asked to avoid all secured areas of last night under advisement by local law enforcement officials. So Greensville County School Superintendent Kelvin Edwards says the school district will be closed today. In a statement, Edwards says, quote, "As always, the safety and well-being of our students and staff is our top priority. We are taking this action based on the guidance of local police and out of an abundance of caution."
Now, this is the developing story, and we'll be sure to provide you with the latest information as we learn more. As always, be sure to stay with us on air and online in this story for the latest details. We want to switch gears now and check in with our Storm Tracker 8 forecast and look at your morning commute. Jacqueline Water.
And a missing man who was last seen on January 19th has been found dead in a wooded area near Coffer Road in Richmond. Family members of the man, Salvador Ortiz, contacted Richmond police Saturday after they found Ortiz in that wooded area. Police say there are no signs of foul play. Anyone with information should contact police. For that update, new this morning, a woman is recovering after being shot in Chesterfield yesterday, and police arrested her family member for the crime. Police responded to O'Malley Drive and Colfax Drive just after 1 p.m. They found out the victim had already been taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound. She's expected to be okay, so contact police if you have any information.
We now know Norman Davis was the man hit and killed while walking on Midlothian investigation.
Back to that breaking news, as hundreds of students won't have school today in Greensville County. The school system superintendent canceled classes so police could investigate a shooting that happened right there in the community. 8 News reporter Alexis Bellamy is live in Greensville with more information. And Alexis, what can you tell us about this shooting? Good morning.
Heather, good morning. That's right. I'm here at the Brook Ridge apartment complex where that shooting took place last night. And we know that the schools in the district are canceled today so that police can continue working and figuring out exactly what happened here. Now, the address where the shooting happened is off Route 301.
Now with your news.
All right, Matt, thanks. In your entertainment news this morning, the 66th Grammys brought some of the biggest names in music together on Sunday night. Dua Lipa, SZA, and Olivia Rodrigo took the stage, and Trevor Noah hosted. Some of the biggest awards were nabbed by women. First up, we had Celine Dion, who presented Miley Cyrus, or that was actually Mariah Carey who presented Miley Cyrus with the Record of the Year. Then Celine Dion also handed Taylor Swift her Grammy for Album of the Year. For the Midnights, Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas took to the stage for Song of the Year for What Was I Made For, which debuted in the Barbie movie last summer. So congrats to all these talented ladies.
This is Bellamy, 8 News.
A lot to unpack there, Alexis. Thanks. Police say a Chesterfield County public schools teacher has been charged in connection to the assault of a student at Manchester High School. The assault happened at Manchester High. Time right now, 6:54, and in our top stories this morning, attorneys for the teenager who was victimized by a former Virginia State police trooper and Washington County Sheriff's deputy is suing one of the agencies responsible for his hiring. It's been a story we've been following for years now. 8 News reporter Alexis Bellamy joins us live outside the Virginia State Police headquarters with more information on this case. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning, Heather. Attorneys for that unidentified teenage girl who was victimized by
8 News update.
Good morning. The time right now is 7:56. I'm Heather Hope. Right now we want to check in with Storm Tracker 8 meteorologist Matt DiNardo for a look on our Tuesday forecast. Good morning, Matt.
Well, good morning to you, Heather. Good morning, everyone. We're starting off this morning in the lower 30s across most of central Virginia. You look at Richmond at 32, Petersburg the same, 30 in Ashland, 30 out toward Louisa Crew. Notice that breeze. Wind chills right now sitting in the 20s, the lower 20s, so grab the puffy coat. Breezy one today, 11 a.m., 45 up to 50. Coastal winds will be stronger, 15 to 25 with gusts up to 35. So again, windy along the coast. 51 tomorrow, then 56 on Thursday. Here's Heather now with your news.
Matt, thanks. Well, new details this morning in the case of a cross-country murder involving a former Virginia deputy. A law firm representing his victim is now suing one of the agencies responsible for his hiring for $50 million. The lawsuit alleges failure.
Heather, I know you and I are not excited about cold weather at all. Over to you now.
You said we are not, Matt, but you already told us what coats to wear, so we will be prepared. Thanks, Matt, again. Well, Virginia Beach police will not publicly reveal the name of the person found in the car that plunged off the 14th Street Pier 2 weekends ago. A spokesperson says that decision was made since what happened appears to be intentional. The medical examiner must identify the victim and release a report on the cause of death to police. Investigators are still looking into whether a missing man from the area could be connected to this case.
Discussion on a proposal to study menhaden fish populations in the Chesapeake Bay has been pushed back to next year's General Assembly session. It's your Capital Connection. The House Rules Studies Subcommittee voted to wait to discuss House Bill 19, which would pay for a study of the fish population and how environmental conditions in fishing affect it. Democratic delegate Betsy Carr claims Omega Protein, a company that fishes for menhaden on the Chesapeake Bay, lobbied for the delay. A company spokesperson says that's not the case. Environmental advocates and others claim Omega's methods have contributed to a menhaden shortage in the bay. Well, some students at Pleasant Lane Elementary in Petersburg are getting an early start on understanding personal finance. It's never too early. Representatives from Truist visited the school for a finance workshop yesterday. Students learned how to budget during tough financial times and what a must-have expense is, like rent and health insurance payments.
Well, you can now support Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School's art program at an art show today. It's happening at First Presbyterian Church in Richmond from 11 until 1. Art by the church community and others will be on display. Admission is free, and those who register will also get lunch. Yum for them. Good morning, Richmond. It's 4:30 on this Wednesday, February 7th. I'm Heather Hope.
And I'm Delaney Hall. We have a lot of news to get to on this Wednesday, but first we want to check in with Tyler Hall. He's tracking your morning commute, and Storm Tracker 8 meteorologist Matt DiNardo has a closer look at that forecast. What kind of puffy coat are you thinking today,
I'm thinking more puffy coat this.
Matt, thanks. A University of Maryland professor is working to stop what's known as deep fakes. Annalisa Gale explains how the professor's new app could help to prevent unauthorized changes to your videos.
The lack of transparency can undermine public trust. This is not the future we want. If you were listening from home, you might have thought that voice was mine and the words from me. But in fact, that voice was not mine.
Lawmakers like Senator Richard Blumenthal have been highlighting the dangers of artificial intelligence in what's known as deep and shallow fakes for nearly a year.
Victoria Lucas, 8 News.
Victoria, thanks. New details this morning about a former Henrico teacher who was pled guilty to 5 felony charges. That teacher, Megan Jordan, pled guilty for engaging in a sexual relationship with a student who was 14 years old at the time. Henrico Commonwealth's attorney Shannon Taylor said in a statement, quote, "I must recognize the brave action of those who brought this matter to the attention of Henrico Police Division. We are asking people if they see something unusual to say something. Because of their efforts, this predator is off the streets," end quote.
Here's Heather now with more news.
Too cool, Matt, hearing how he got into weather. That storm changed it all. Well, now to the alarming new report after a door came off an Alaska Airlines flight at 16,000 feet. So you may remember it happened about a month ago. Now we're learning all of the bolts in that door plug were missing and that the passenger jet had flown nearly 150 flights without those bolts. Here's Gio Benitez.
The NTSB says all 4 bolts meant to hold that door plug in place were missing entirely. We simply must do better for our customers and their passengers.
And that was Gio Benitez reporting. The FAA administrator testified on Capitol Hill on Tuesday, saying the FAA will likely add more FAA inspectors on the ground at Boeing facilities and keep them there for the foreseeable future.
Calling all VCU students.
The good news is today, folks, no injuries, no fatalities. We'll have more information coming up in our next half hour. Live in Petersburg, Victoria Lucas, 8 News.
All right, Victoria, thank you for that update on breaking news. Now, the city of Richmond has reached its latest round of settlements stemming from protests and demonstrations that erupted during the summer of 2020. The outrage and calls for justice came following the police killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. We have Alexis Bellamy live now inside our digital center with more details on this. And Alexis, what can you tell us about this latest round? And Alexis, you got to check your headgear. You're already up, and I know you got your bandana on.
Thank you for that, Heather. Well, this latest settlement includes one high-profile case where a group of Richmond police officers were caught on video of pepper spraying 3 people multiple times on the street. Now, the city has since awarded more than $30,000 to the people who were involved.
Thanks for that report, Alexis. Well, new this morning, an inmate who managed to escape from custody last year will face a judge later this morning. We've been following the escape of Nassim Rulak from police custody, then to his capture this past October. Now, Rulak is accused of allegedly breaking and entering into an occupied house, credit card theft, and petty larceny. Remember, Rulak was an inmate at the Greensville Correctional Center and patient at Bon Secours St. Mary's Hospital. That's where he managed to escape, despite being under the supervision of 2 Virginia Department of Correction security officers. Those officers admitted to being asleep during the time of his initial escape and resigned from their duties less than 2 weeks after Rulak's escape. Authorities then were able to locate and arrest Rulak in Fairfax County in October, but we're told Rulak did put up a fight trying to jump out of a 3rd-floor window with an assault rifle in hand. His hearing here in Richmond is set for 9 this morning. And just to illustrate the height of the building that Nassim Rulak jumped from when he was finally caught, the average height for a man in the U.S. is about 5'9", and 3 stories is between 33 feet and 40 feet. So that's nearly 6 times the height of the average man. If you just take a look there, wow.
Well, a crime alert out of
capture this past October. Now, Rulak is accused of allegedly breaking and entering into an occupied house, credit card theft, and petty larceny. Remember, Rulak was an inmate at the Greensville Correctional Center and patient at Bon Secours St. Mary's Hospital. That's where he managed to escape, despite being under the supervision of 2 Virginia Department of Correction security officers. Those officers admitted to being asleep during the time of his initial escape and resigned from their duties less than 2 weeks after Rulak's escape. Authorities then were able to locate and arrest Rulak in Fairfax County in October, but we're told Rulak did put up a fight trying to jump out of a 3rd-floor window with an assault rifle in hand. His hearing here in Richmond is set for 9 this morning. And just to illustrate the height of the building that Nassim Rulak jumped from when he was finally caught, the average height for a man in the U.S. is about 5'9", and 3 stories is between 33 feet and 40 feet. So that's nearly 6 times the height of the average man. If you just take a look there, wow.
Well, a crime alert out of
Well, the city of Richmond has reached more settlements stemming from protests and demonstrations that happened during the summer of 2020. The outrage and calls for justice came after the law enforcement killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. 8 News reporter Alexis Bellamy has more details for us from our digital center. And Alexis, exactly how much money was awarded as part of these settlements? Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. This latest settlement includes one high-profile case.
All right, Tyler, thanks. All eyes will be on the field for the big game on Sunday, but before kickoff, attention will be on the sky.
Oh yeah, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds will handle the pregame flyover, and they've been preparing for this for a long time.
And Justine Waltman joins us live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And Justine, we know you worked with our very own Matt DiNardo. He too wants to know what's going on out there for the pregame festivities.
Hi, Matt. Good morning, Richmond. So good to be with you live here in Las Vegas. So much going on here.
Good morning, Richmond. It's 4:30 on this Thursday, February 8th. I'm Heather Hope.
And I'm Delaney Hall. We'll get to your top stories in just a bit, but first we want to get a check out the door. Tyler Hall is tracking your morning.
Should be nice. Well, get ready to play ball as Chesterfield County and Virginia State University are holding a baseball meet and greet triple play on Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. The meet and greet will be held at the Meadowdale Library. It features Tony and Julie Atlas discussing Tony's time as the first full-time African-American bat boy for the former California Angels. The duo, Nutsy of the Richmond Flying Squirrels and Blazin' Holly of the Tri-City Chili Peppers, will take photos and sign autographs. You must register on the county's website. Tyler, thanks. New details as leaders in Petersburg City Public Schools want students to turn off the phones and dial into high learning. The school district has just adopted a new phone program that they think will help curb bad habits and keep students safe. 8 News reporter Alexis Bellamy is live in Petersburg this morning. She joins us now with more information about how this program will work. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning, Heather. That's right. 3 schools here in Petersburg will be starting that new cell phone free program later this month.
8 News starts now with breaking news.
That breaking news coming out of Richmond this morning, where fire crews are responding to a house fire on Williamsburg Road. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Heather Hope.
And I'm Delaney Hall. We'll get to your top stories in just a bit. But first, we want to head to Victoria Lucas, who's live at the scene this morning. Victoria just arrived. What can you tell us about this?
Ladies, good morning. Not much of an active scene right now. Williamsburg Road here open to the public. Richmond Fire and EMS crews battling out the flames early this morning just after 4:30. The impact to the home right beside us, you see right there. I know it's dark, but we're going to try to get a good look for you. Zoom in so you can get somewhat of a good look. The 911.
Time right now, 6:55. We're continuing to follow breaking news out of Richmond this morning, where fire crews are responding to a house fire. 8 News reporter Victoria Lucas joining us live at the scene with what she's seeing out there. Good morning, Victoria.
Heather, good morning to you. Not much of an active scene here on Williamsburg Road. In fact, the roads are now opened, thankfully, because of the work of fire crews of Richmond Fire and EMS. And take a look right beside us right here. That's where most of the impact was to that house. It looks much intact, but if we zoom in closer to the top, that's where Richmond Fire and EMS crews tell me much of their work was. The 911 call came into them at 4:27. They then arrived within minutes. Officials telling me 3 adult males were in the home. They're working smoke detector, alerting them of the fire, getting them up in time to call 911. We're told there's a hole in the roof because the HVAC was burning up in the attic. That's what the battalion chief on scene.
Your 8 News update.
Good morning. The time right now is 7:56. I'm Heather Hope. Let's start with our Storm Tracker 8 meteorologist Matt DiNardo with a look at our Thursday forecast. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning to you, Heather. Good morning, everyone. We're starting off this morning a little bit colder than freezing. 30 in Richmond now, 28 in Ashland. Still low 20s out in Farmville and around 27 to 25 when you look at Tappahannock and West Point. Plenty of sunshine out there. We have some great looking weather for today. Up to 57. Some high clouds will be around. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, 61. Some spotty showers on Saturday, 65. Rain to begin your Sunday, 58. Another system with more rain Monday with a high of 53. Let's go back to Heather now for your news.
Matt, thanks. Well, officials are investigating how a house caught on fire earlier this morning in Richmond, causing Williamsburg Road to close temporarily. Fire crews say 3 men were home at the time, but the smoke detectors alerted them, prompting them to call 911. The fire was in the attic of the home. Officials say the fire may have had something to do with the HVAC equipment burning up. There were no injuries, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. So stick with 8 News on air and online as we work to learn more. We're going to go ahead and send things over to Tyler Hall with a look at your morning drive. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning, Heather. Good morning out there, everyone.
Victoria Lucas, 8 News.
Victoria, thanks for that update. Well, a crash on Powhite Parkway between the Midlothian and Courthouse Road exits caused some delays for drivers earlier this morning. Police say a Hyundai sedan ran off the road and struck a truck and then caught on fire. So the driver of the sedan is being charged with following too closely. There were non-life-threatening injuries to the driver of the sedan.
Starts now.
Good morning, Richmond. It's 4:30 on this Friday, February 9th. I'm Heather Hope.
Happy Friday. I'm Roland Wilson. Delaney Hall has the morning off. We will get to your top stories in just a moment, but first I'm joined by Matt DiNardo and Tyler Hall for a look at your weather and traffic. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you, Roland and Heather and Tyler. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hey, we're starting off a lot better this morning than
Millions of eyes will be watching the big game this Sunday when the Chiefs take on the 49ers. But for many, watching the Super Bowl isn't even about football. It's about the halftime show. Usher will be joining an elite list of performers who have taken the stage on football's biggest stage. So yesterday, the Atlanta legend says this set is going to have some surprises. When it comes to the Super Bowl, Usher says he's talked to past halftime performers about how to handle the mini concert. Generally, a Super Bowl halftime show goes about 12 to 15 minutes, but with his catalog of hits, it might not be that easy to pick a set list.
I wanted to put on a show that I felt would represent my idea of creativity. What I've been able to do is bring a great deal of Atlanta and the melting pot that it is, musically, culturally, to Las Vegas. You know, that is the source that has been fueling me for these years creatively. So why not make certain that the rest of the world, rather they're seeing me for the first time, or either they're celebrating because we've been, you know, listening to me, you've been listening to my music for these years.
Yes, we have. Well, one other thing to point out, he's going to have special guests. Good to know. As far as other performances go, Post Malone is doing America the Beautiful. Reba McEntire will perform the national anthem. Lift Every Voice and Sing will be sung by Andra Day. Too cool to have Usher taking center stage. He's my Atlanta hometown favorite. Everyone's been trying to guess, oh, what's he going to come out? We know he's going to do Yeah at some point, but will he lead with it? Will that be his anchor song?
That's true. You know, everyone's been asking, who are you going to go for? I'm Team Usher. I know he's got a lot of songs, but as long as he plays You Got It Bad.
Okay, You Got It Bad? That's your thing?
Your girl will be happy.
My Way. That is good. And then probably J.D. Dupree, a lot of Atlanta folks will.
Oh, you're a super fan.
And people already know that Luda and maybe Little John will have to be a part of that. Little Atlanta in Vegas. And Matt's already been practicing his piece up and down. Yeah.
See how I did that there?
Okay, no,
I mean, I'm going to be in the club with my homies. I'm just saying, right? Yeah.
And
exactly.
the VI. Okay.
Okay.
Down on the low key.
I mean,
okay,
look,
Matt.
If he does that song, it only, and I think it's going to be the last song he does. Yeah. I mean, because it is the kind of the big one, right? I mean, he's got so many. It's got to be a Little John. I mean, he's got to come out, right?
Has to.
You need Luda. I mean, I think.
Oh, yeah.
What do I know?
You know a lot.
Yeah,
maybe Little Biebs will come out.
Ooh, Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
maybe Little Taylor.
He's performed in a while, right? So,
yeah, we love it.
Anyway, all right, let's talk about weather here.
Alexis Bellamy, 8 News.
Alexis, thanks. Well, the Federal Trade Commission is banning robocalls containing voices generated by AI. This move comes less than a month after an alleged situation of voter intimidation occurring ahead of New Hampshire's Republican presidential primary election last month. 8 News reporter Victoria Lucas joining us live at the Office of the Attorney General downtown with more details on this. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning. The FCC's recent move Thursday coming as a way, they say, to protect consumers from unwanted calls made by artificial or pre-recorded voices. This coming after 2 Texas groups were allegedly accused of mimicking Joe Biden's voice and discouraging voters in New Hampshire from voting in the Republican primary election. New Hampshire officials say they believe.
Alexis, thanks for that update. New out of Henrico, we're learning that a JetBlue plane was diverted to Richmond International Airport on Thursday night. Now, it's still unclear at this time what caused the plane to land in Richmond, but officials with the airport did confirm assistance was being provided. So we reached out to JetBlue for information, but have not yet heard back.
In a quest to combat robocalls, the FCC makes a sweeping move. The FCC is banning robocalls.
Alexis, thanks. This out of Henrico, a JetBlue plane was diverted to Richmond International Airport last night. It is still unclear at this time what caused the plane to land in Richmond, but officials with the airport did confirm assistance was being provided. We reached out to JetBlue for more information, but have not yet heard back. Now a bill in his memory is one step closer to making its way to the governor's desk. If Ivo's law is signed into law, families will be able to be with their loved ones who are in police custody because of an emergency mental health crisis, despite recent efforts to change how it is written. Thanks so much for joining us for 8 News at noon. I'm Heather Hope. We begin with a new lawsuit aimed at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Attorneys are claiming the agency was negligent in hiring a former deputy who killed 3 family members of a teenage girl. Police say he had been in a relationship with online. 8 News reporter Alexis Bellamy breaks down the case for us.
Attorneys for the unidentified 15.
And we have an update this afternoon on Richmond Public Schools' cell phone policy. We told you last month that 6 schools were starting a pilot program that requires students to keep their phones in a locked pouch during the school day. District officials say 5 of the 6 schools have started the program. Huguenot High School is expected to start it in about 2 weeks. In documents presented to the school board members last night, leaders say they've gotten positive feedback from teachers about student engagement, and the effect on arrival procedures has been minimal. The Richmond Office of Elections is still closed after the fire department was called in last Wednesday, and 8 News is taking action to find out why. Early voting for March's presidential primary has happened at City Hall since this closure. The building's boiler malfunctioned last Wednesday, and we learned last night that air quality tests found traces of diesel fumes in the air. General Registrar Keith Ballmer says staff hope to be able to move back into the building tomorrow.
This is all really just unfortunate, but our hope is that we can return back to this office at some point this week.
Early voting is happening until 5 o'clock today at City Hall, and we'll let you know when the Office of Elections reopens. A bill to provide enhanced benefits for first responders in the Commonwealth won't move forward. This is your Capital Connection. By law, 911 dispatchers aren't eligible for hazardous duty benefits like law enforcement officers, firefighters, or EMTs are right now. Supporters say dispatchers deserve the benefits for their life-saving work and add it would help and recruit and retain dispatchers. Just yesterday, lawmakers in a committee said more time is needed to figure out how to make it happen at the state level.
They receive calls from unknown people that are screaming, upset, hysterical. They might take a call from a mom with a child that's not breathing, and they need to walk that mom through CPR instructions. They may receive a phone call from somebody who's threatening to harm themselves. Then they need to get the correct resources out to them.
A companion bill is making its way through the General Assembly, but must get past the same committee that tabled the bill to move forward. Hanover School Board will meet tonight to go over the superintendent's proposed budget for next school year. The public meeting starts at 7 o'clock at the County Board office. After a closed session, public comment will be allowed, and we'll keep you updated on that meeting.